Good day, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm thrilled to have you here on a journey of exploring the dynamic world of stock market together. My name is Rishi, and on this channel, we are going to dive deep into the world of technical analysis. I will be sharing my technical analysis for educational purpose and my view on a particular stock. Most of you may have a question that the global markets are following pretty much day by day. We are hearing not so great news. The interest rates are going up. We might see another hike by Fed this month, if not definitely next month. So what should we do in such a situation? So my answer to that is we should follow our system. We should follow our rules. Don't break your rules just by some news. So if you find stocks which is breaking out during this market, that means that those stocks have pretty high potential to go up. Just imagine, even in current market, if these stocks are outperforming the markets, they're giving their breakouts with a good rising volumes. That means that the stock have a good potential. It just a matter of market is reversing, and then there might be a huge spikes in the stocks. Obviously, the rule of thumb is if the markets are following, tighten your stop loss, bring your stop loss to the cost, for example, for any existing positions. Keep an eye, make sure that there is no big gap downs. Follow the strict stop loss, follow a strict allocation, don't over allocate. Make sure that you're not risking too much of your capital in a one single trade or a single stock. So if you follow some of these things, then even in the bear markets, you could find some potentials. And we only enter if the stock meets our rules or meets our requirements. So not breaking rule, not trying to find any specific stocks by digging. If it comes in our screener, then only we look into that stock. So let's take a look at this month's stocks. So for this month, I am following IOB, Indian Overseas Bank. There are a few reasons for that. The first one is good volume for a longer duration, consistent good volume, I would say. The stock is making higher high and higher lows, which is a good sign from a Dow theory. Uh, Strong buying zone from an RSI perspective. The stock is in an overbought zone. But just remember that there is a chance of a little pullback because for this stock, this month candle was pretty high and strong. So it is pretty much observed that after a very strong breakout candle, there is a slight profit booking or a slight breakout, but we are not trying to do a BTST or like buy today and sell tomorrow. We are looking for a mid to long term duration. So the pullback would be a good buying sign, or you can just wait for the stock to break that particular zone again, the buying zone, and then enter. I can show you what I mean in the chart. Let's take a look at the chart. All right, now let's take a look at the chart for IOB. You can see, I would say I would consider this as a strong reversal breakout because I mean the stock has seen a good fall during the GFC, during 2011, of course after the 2015, and then stock is been in a downtrend for a long time. So we have seen a lot of lower lows and lower highs even on the longer term. And being in the financial industry, that's it's considered as it's a flip side, or if it's a quick quick turnaround, whatever you may call it. But if you see a good turnaround where stock has done pretty much lower low, lower highs, and now there is a turnaround with a greater volume, some positive news from a fundamental side, and then if stock started producing some higher highs and higher lows, it's considered as a good long-term sign for a possible long-term reversal. So if you look at the chart, I would say pretty much from after the pandemic or after the COVID dip. The super trend is pretty much positive since then. The stock has pretty much rallied a lot, but now it is showing a good breakout from a recent swing highs, or pretty much past three swing highs. And if you see this, the consolidation phase, even after after the super trend, there was a pullback, then there was a consolidation, then stock did try to break this level again, there was a pullback, and after the two successive pullbacks, the stock has now shown a good breakout with a strong volume. You can consider, I just move myself. uh, you can see the RSI is constantly in a overbought zone, pretty much a deep curve there. The stock has been outperforming the index since, I would say, almost a year now. So considering all of this factor, I would consider this as a good, good time to enter. Uh, if you see, this month candle is very strong. It's about 48-49%. So there is a slight chance that next month we may see a little bit of a pullback. So we can wait for the stock to come around 40 level and then enter. Or if you want to do, maybe enter, if you want to enter now, you can enter with 50% of your position and then see if the stock does the pullback for next month. And if there is a little pullback, you can average it out, but make sure that you follow a strict stop loss, because we all know the markets are pretty much in a downtrend, and considering a financial sector, it can affect pretty quickly. So make sure that you have a good stop loss. I would be either following following the super trend, or the long support, which is bit higher, uh, from a percentage wise, I would say it is pretty much higher. So I would still consider a super trend as a stop loss. Or if you are a really conservative trader, and if you enter fully, I mean, there is another scenario where if you enter completely in the stock with your 100% allocation, 100% allocation for this stock, not to the portfolio, because you know the thumb rule. I normally don't go beyond 5 to 6% of my total portfolio. But if I put for example, 5 or 6% of my position, and I put everything at once, what you can do is you can use this month candle, which is still a long candle, as your stop loss, which might be a bit of a higher stop loss in terms of 40%, but yeah, it's a financial market stocks, so there is a potential risk that you may want to take it. And that's why I keep telling everyone that make sure that you don't put more than 5% of your total portfolio. So even if you consider, let's say, this month candle as a stop loss, we're talking about 40% of your 5%, which is hardly 2% of your total portfolio. So that's a good way to manage your risk. But if the trend continues, I think there is a quick potential that you can make a quick profit. And then what you can do is you can do the partial profit booking at around, say, this level, which is again around 84-85. Book a partial profit and then let the trend goes, and then just ride that trend, because the next resistance, that is pretty far away, which is 164. So that is, I would say, still about 2 times, or even the first resistance is around 60-70%. So if you book some profit here, there is a potential that you can ride another, I would say, 80-85% from the profit perspective. So which is a good sign. So considering all of this, I think this looks to me a pretty strong stock. As I said, you need to follow a couple of things. You need to follow this month candle. As I said, this was a pretty high candle, so make sure that you follow a strict stop loss. Keep an eye on the market as well. If you think that the stock is relative strength wise, it started underperforming market. That's a good time you can exit it. uh, uh, you can also, another approach which we discussed was you can enter in two steps. So you can enter 50% of your allocation, of your total allocation for this particular stock at this price, and if you see another green candle in month of October, that's where you can enter with your remaining position. So this is these are a couple of options I would consider specifically buying this particular stock for this month. So let's see. Please comment on this couple of strategies. What do you think about how we can manage risk in particular situation where we have a strong trend, but the stock has already gone up a little bit? There might be a chance of pullback. The markets are downtrading. So quite an interesting scenario. So I would like to get some of your feedback, your experience in the comment section below. So let's see what we can find for next month. Thank you. So for this month, I also have one more stock, but that to be kept on a watch list. I'm not entering this stock as of yet. Uh, for me, this stock is in a buying zone. So let's take a look at that stock and keep an eye for this month and see what happens. The stock is Bajaj Hindustan Sugars. The reason I'm keeping this stock in my watch list is because it's a strong breakout, but immediately got rejected by an immediate resistance. So stock in a pullback zone, and it's consolidating in that buying zone. It's constantly trying to break that immediate resistance. So once that stock breaks that immediate resistance or it goes a bit above that buying zone, then it's a good time to enter that stock. Let's take a look at that chart as well. So I thought it's worth sharing another stock which I'm following for this month. Again, I'm not entering in this stock at least now. I might try to enter somewhere in the midweek, but this is something I really want to keep in my watch list. So let's see the chart, and I'll explain you what I mean by adding something to the wish list or maybe a watch list. Sorry. Uh, so you can see this stock. Oh, it's hard to zoom in because look at the fluctuation this stock has given, right? Crazy, eh? So stock has fallen pretty much 90%, I would say, since last many years. But and since I would say for almost a few years or even more than that, since 2018, the stock is been trading in a particular zone, and recently I can see a good breakout. So the stock is showing 52 candle breakout. The super trend have turned positive with an inclination, not with a flat line, I would say, but with an inclination on May 2021. So it's been almost 2 years now. So in 2 years, the stock is in a positive super trend, but with a good volumes, and again in a consolidation phase. So stock has broken that consolidation phase, and it did try to break in the last month candle, but it got rejected by a previous resistance. So this is a typical scenario where you may want to look at this. So see, this was the previous resistance, or R1 you can call it in a technical terms, was broken by last week candle on a closing basis, but there is an immediate resistance which is in, I would change the color of this candle, of this trend line maybe, which was a resistance for 2014, which is a previous resistance. So the stock price got rejected, typically called as a rejection in technical terms, at around, let's say, 30.70, and now it's going in this buying zone. So I would call it as a buying zone. So what you can do is you can enter again. If you're doing a pyramiding, you can enter with some quantities now and then wait for this breakout and then you enter. Or if you want to trade it once, I would keep this stock in my watch list as everything else is pretty positive. The stock is outperforming the market. I was reading about some of the financials. There are some pretty good financial, the fundamental indicators, or there are some good fundamental news around it. The RSI is pretty much has broken into a higher zone, high overbought zone. So it's pretty trending at this point. So considering that, what I would do is I would keep this stock on a watch list and monitor that stock on a smaller time frame, let's say weekly. So on a weekly, it has already given some breakout, and now stock is kind of going in that, I would say, consolidating in that buying zone, in our buying zone. And if I start seeing some positive candles here, then I would make sure that I enter exactly on this breakout. In that way, going back to our monthly chart, we might see some sort of a breakout in a coming month. And that way it is forming a higher lows, which is again a good positive sign from a Dow theory. The super trends are going in the inclination direction. There are some earnings I think we are expecting in, let's say, November. So there might be some some action on this stock on October. So definitely this is the stock I would be keeping on my watch list. You can also keep this stock in your watch list. If you find anything specific around this stock, feel free to add anything in the comment section. Let's see what happens to this stock. I'll be keeping this stock in a watch list, and if it breaks, who knows, we may enter in this stock. So thank you for watching. So what do you think about those stocks? I know you might ask the question that the markets are following and why these stocks are going up. Well, that's the secret, right? So there are still some stocks which will try to bounce during the falling markets as well. As I said at the beginning, the rule is to make sure that you're following your stop loss, maybe tighten your stop loss, bring your stop losses to your cost, at your cost if you're already in the trend, and then just ride the trend, follow the rules, don't break the rules, keep an eye, trade safe, save your capital. So let's see what we can find next month, and I'll see you next month.